a follow-up video to a potato rosti video that I've done a couple of times. Wasn't too happy with the way it turned out, and it's basically down to the amount of liquid that's in the potatoes. It didn't go as crisp as I would have liked. It was nice. I ate it. It was delicious. I ate too much of it, but I kind of thought I wanted to have another go. I wanted to try something different, and then I've got some leftover potato trimmings because it was I made chips the other day, so I've got lots of potatoes left over. So I kind of thought we'll have another go, and we'll shred the potatoes down, and we'll squeeze the juice out of them. So it's pretty straightforward. Oh, this is just some chorizo that I fried off, homemade chorizo. There's videos on how I made it and all that kind of stuff. So I've just fried some chorizo off because we get the fat out of that, and that'd be kind of quite nice to fry the potatoes in. So shredded the potatoes down. It kind of looks like that. Lots of juice comes out of them, and then you squeeze it in a cloth. I'll do it in a second, but we'll just start on the frying potatoes, and then you dry. Well, you'll see. But a little bit more oil in there, and we might add some butter as well, just to enrich it slightly. But we'll just start off with oil to start off with at the moment, and it's just a quite a plain olive oil, nothing too expensive, quite a light one. I'm not a huge fan of the extra virgin, really peppery stuff. I think it's quite bitter. Don't think we'll be able to squeeze more water out of that. Can we squeeze more water out of that before we start? I don't think so. No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We'll get rid of some of the moisture through frying. So I'm going to do a thin layer of potato. The last one was like a potato cake. I'm going to do a thinner layer of potato, and I'm going to do a few of these. So it's basically going to be like potato discs. And then I thought what we'll do, since I've got some leftover cheese from the function that I worked as well, instead of throwing it away, I thought, well, I can faff around with those bits of cheese. We won't waste them. So we'll make some potato rostis. We'll get them nice and crisp. We'll do maybe 3. We'll see how much potato we've got. We'll make as many potato rostis as we've got, and then they'll be nice and crisp. We'll cook them so they're nice and crisp. I keep repeating myself, I know. We'll get them nice and crisp. Repeat myself again. And we'll do layers, and then so fry that side, get the other side crispy, turn them over, get that side crispy. We'll do a few more of those, and then we'll layer those up with grated cheese and the chorizo. And I've got some red onions as well. Red onions, so we'll slice those as well, and then we'll see about maybe either baking that in the oven or frying it in the frying pan to kind of melt it all. But we'll kind of see. But I thought that'll kind of get round the problem of it being a little bit soggy, for want of a better word. So the potatoes kind of quite straightforward. Move my coffee before I spill it. You shred the potatoes, and then you put them in a cloth. I used the Japanese finger slicer. You don't have to use one of those. You can just use a normal box grater. That grater will be fine. I think a thinner grater than that would just mash them to bits. And then you just get a handful of potato, put it in a cloth, a good quality cloth, something that's going to hold up to the potato being squeezed, and then you just twist, and hope you'll be able to hear. You'll be able to see liquid coming out of the potatoes like that, and then that dries the potatoes out, and then that's moisture that you don't have to cook out of the potatoes. So squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. I slightly salted them as well, so that helps moisture come out of them as well. And then you're left with water and potato starch on the bottom of there. I think I might end up doing something with that. So then you just kind of carry on doing that with potatoes, like that, until you've done all those, and you're left with dry potatoes, and then we'll fry, and we'll kind of see how we go. Doesn't want to be too hard a fry, because we kind of want that frying off to get crispy, but also cooking the potatoes at the same time. If you cook it too hot, the potatoes are going to brown quickly, and potatoes hit elsewhere is going to be a bit raw. So that's kind of what we're kind of like aiming for. We don't wash the potatoes once we've squeezed them, because we want the natural starch that's in the potatoes to hold everything together as it cooked. So hopefully this is going to work. We'll see. Fine, press down, and then it's going to form a crispy cake. You see what I'm doing? I'm probably not doing a very good job of explaining. Like that. So press that down, keep frying until it's crisp on that side, and then we'll turn over, which will probably entail using the chopping board, because I don't, it's quite a big frying pan, and the thought of flipping that over with a spatula, I don't think that's going to work. So I think we'll put the chopping board top of the pan, turn it over, and then slide the potato rosti back into the pan. And so, but we'll see when we get there. But that's what I'm doing at the moment. Just going to fry that, and the next bit I'll show you what it should look like when it's crisp, and we'll and then it'll be a repeat until we've run out of potatoes, type of thing. So the potato is formed a kind of altogether raft. I don't want to. It's quite a big pan. I don't want to risk breaking it up by turning it over. So we'll do the chopping board trick, which just simply entails chopping board on top, turn that down a bit, and then cloth underneath the pan, and then off camera flip over like that. So that's what we've done. Turn the pan like that, and then slide potato rosti into the pan just to finish off cooking on that side. So as you can see, that's nice and crispy, so the other side hopefully will be just as crispy by the time we've finished off the cooking process. Yes, I have every confidence this is going to work. So crispiness will, the cooking will draw out, will cook off as much moisture as possible, so that'll stay nice and crisp. I suppose if you kind of, I'm going to do like a big version, but if you wanted to do a kind of smaller version of this, if it was just you, what I would do is I would cook the potato rosti like that, and then I would cook it on both sides, and then I would cut it into four, and then I'd put cheese on each layer, then put it back together and put it through the oven. That's what I'd do, but I'm going to do a big one because I want to. But there we go. So we'll come back when that's cooked. Well, you don't need to see. It needs to be as cooked on the underside as it is on that side, and then I'm just going to make more and more and more of them. And then we'll come back when I've got some more, and we'll put it all together and see how it looks and how it goes. Right, we have got 4 potato rostis. So we're going to have, since there's 4 of them, there will be 3 layers of stuffing in it. There was some extra bits of potatoes, so I have fried those off with the onions and a little bit more chorizo because I didn't think there was enough chorizo. So that's the first layer. And we might put in some cheap hard Italian cheese as well. And I'm going to bake it in the oven rather than do it in the frying pan. I think it'll be for a better result. So that's the onions, potato and chorizo, which I've just fried off. It was just the leftovers from the grating of the potato from that. So I just thought we might as well use it up. And then we'll see. So we've got some grated red cheese, which is just some cheap stuff. So some of that, maybe a bit more, and then we've got some cheap leftover feta, so that can go on. Got an itchy nose, I've been swimming. I don't know why I get an itchy nose when I go swimming. Might be down to the chlorine. So we'll see how that looks. Probably could do with a lot more cheese, if I'm honest. Yeah, let's go whole hog. Let's go whole hog. Let's put more of the hard Italian cheese on. It's just the cheap stuff. I don't know why it's called. It's just that stuff. Hard Italian cheese. I don't know. I don't know how to define it, but we're going to use some of this. So it's alright for cooking. I won't necessarily use it for anything else. Extra cheese. So this is just to play around, so it's not a particularly standard recipe that I'm going to do. I'm just curious. So that'll be enough for that layer. And then we'll just be careful because some of these are a little bit fragile, but it's going to crack anyway. So that one hasn't got so much potato, but not to worry. So another layer. I think it'll all melt down anyway. So it'll be quite tall when I put it in the oven, but I think it will shrink. Like that, and I think all the cheese will melt into all the gaps in the potato rosti. So I don't think it will stay crisp, but I think there'll be an element of crispness to it. We'll just have to see. It might be a complete faff and a complete waste of time, but we'll find out. I suppose I could put in some wild garlic pesto, but I can't be bothered. So I have thought of another thing that I want to try out. Depending on how this goes, there's something else I want to try. Damn, I should have done. Damn, I've done it wrong. Not to worry. No, have I? No, it's okay. I thought I'd done it wrong. That's alright, and then that layer, give it a bit of a squish down. It's holding together alright. So then, the last sort of potatoes, onions and chorizo. Bacon would be fine, it's just that I've got chorizo that I've made in the fridge. If I don't use it up, actively use things up, they just tend to sit in the fridge. You know, I kind of want to save it for something else. I go, well, I won't use that. I'll use it in the next thing. You know, whereas I just think if you're going to make something, you should use it up. That's that. Probably could have done with more cheese, but we'll just bulk out with the hard Italian cheese. Like that. Yeah. That makes it for a lot of cheese on that layer, and then the last disc on top, and then that's going to go in the oven to bake, and we'll see how it turns out. So 160, I think 160 is going to be a good number to put it in at, and then we'll see how it turns out. You don't want it to be too hot, because I don't want it to kind of burn, but there we go, we'll see how it turns out. Let's have a look. And it looks absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, does that? Certainly well. And then we'll have a cut into it. So, kind of not what I was expecting. Probably needs more cheese in it. Let's have a cut into it. Actually looks ridiculous. That's ridiculous. It looks quite impressive inside. We'll cut into it, and then we'll move the camera, and you get a better idea. And it's just crunchy cheesy goodness, and that's just it could do with more cheese. I'll move the camera. I'll pause first, because it's got a habit of falling over. So, that's the cross section of it. It could certainly do with more cheese in it. Maybe I should have only used two of this and cut them in half. But as you can see, it's ridiculous in this that. Probably really nice with baked beans. But let's give it a taste. I think it's going to taste really good. I mean, loads of oils come out as well. I mean, it's going to be really unhealthy, is this? That's delicious. That's really nice, is that? I don't know. That's really nice with the chorizo and the cheese. Maybe we don't need to do all those potato discs. Maybe just 3 potato discs, or maybe just one on the top and one on the bottom, and kind of use it for a filling. It's really nice. I mean, you couldn't eat too much of it, but it's really nice. And I think it's a bit of a faff to do the whole kind of 4 discs of potato, but it's got a hell of a crunch to it, and it's nice. I mean, I don't know. Well, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is or what you call it, or a Rosti cake or something like that. I mean, it's just ridiculous food. I mean, it'll give you a heart attack with this. It's really good. I'll have a think. There'll be some variations. I'll do this again in a few weeks, and we'll kind of properly nail the recipe. What kind of quantities and all that kind of stuff. If I don't die of a heart attack before then. But that's really nice. I didn't think it would be that nice, but it's delicious. Yeah, I don't know what you'd do with it. I don't know what you'd serve it with. Maybe I'll have a think. But it's really nice.